Borderlands 4 is certainly one of the biggest games of the month. It uses Unreal Engine 5. Considering how Unreal Engine 5 games have a history of performance issues, it's no surprise that Borderlands 4 is facing some criticism on its optimization and performance. So how bad is it? Let's compare Borderlands 4 on Xbox Series S versus Series X versus the base PS5 versus PS5 Pro. Starting with the game size, it's 29.8 gigabytes on Xbox and 28.6 gigabytes on PS5. All the footage I captured is with the latest patch 1.2.1. This is an open world game, so there isn't much loading once you start playing, except when you fast travel. Fast travel times are similar on all four consoles. If you're looking for a winner, it's Xbox Series X with 12 seconds. Both PS5s are around 14 seconds, and Series S comes in last place with 12 seconds. Keep in mind, Xbox does have quick resume. That's perfect for playing offline single player. PS5 still doesn't and will never have quick resume. Borderlands 4 has a unique art style. Running on Unreal Engine 5, some might question if this art style even needs to be in such a high demanding game engine. There's all the advanced lighting features here from Unreal Engine 5. There's a day and night cycle. There's a weather cycle. There's dynamic lighting enhanced by Lumen Global Illumination. And because of all of that, at times you'll notice a slight difference in the colors of these side-by-side comparisons. The shadows are accurate in the foreground as well as in the distance. Xbox Series S has just the one default mode. It's 30 FPS. There is no 60 FPS performance mode on the Series S. Resolution is around 720p native and then gets upscaled to 1080p. Comparing Series S to X's quality mode here, you can see the lower resolution on the Series S. There's just more detail in everything from the weapons to the grass and the objects in the distance. Even the user interface on the Series X is slightly higher resolution. That 60 FPS performance mode on the Series X looks closer to the default 30 FPS on the Series S, but even there, I would say Series X has slightly higher resolution. Now, you might have noticed how the side-by-side comparisons between the Series S and X look a little off. Things just don't match up, and that's because of the difference in field of view. There's been complaints about the inability to adjust field of view on console, no settings for it on Xbox or PlayStation. This is gonna sound odd, but for some reason the field of view on the weaker Series S is higher than Series X, PS5, and PS5 Pro. You can clearly see the difference here. Am I missing something? I'm not sure why the weaker Series S can run with a huge field of view while the more powerful consoles have it at such a narrow setting. Moving on to the Series X versus PS5. These flagship consoles have two graphic settings, 30 FPS quality and 60 FPS performance mode. The difference between the two is really the level of detail. There are a lot more objects in the distance and quality mode. From the details in the guns to the draw distance on that tall grass, it all looks better in quality mode. Surprisingly, the resolution isn't a whole lot different between the two graphic modes. On Series X and the base PS5, quality mode hovers between 720p to 1080p native and then gets upscaled to around 700p output. PS5 Pro resolution is for sure higher. It's likely closer to 1080p native most of the time and then outputs at 4K. Performance mode has the same 720p to 1080p dynamic range on the Series X and PS5 and still that similar 700p output resolution, and of course similar numbers on the PS5 Pro's performance mode as well. The average is of course likely closer to the lower end this time in that performance mode. The user interface is around 1080p on the Xbox Series X and PS5 while it's a higher 4K on the PS5 Pro. There's a clear advantage here between the base PS5 and the top of the line PS5 Pro. Now let's talk about FPS performance. This is where some of the controversy starts with Borderlands 4. Xbox Series S with its 30 FPS quality mode has almost no issues with performance. This thing stays at a solid lock 30 FPS at all times. Sure, you're missing out on 60 FPS, but at least that 30 is consistent. Xbox Series X, the base PS5, and the PS5 Pro also stick to 30 FPS in quality mode. There's no real drops in quality mode and things stay locked at 30. And performance mode is where the drops happen. Series X X versus PS5 versus PS5 Pro in performance mode is shown here. There's times where it's a smooth 60 FPS on all three consoles, and then suddenly you get drops into the low 50s, you get screen tearing. It's a bit random and a bit all over the place. I would say the Xbox Series X has it the worst. I saw the lowest average frame rate and the most screen tearing on the Xbox Series X. The base PS5 is a little better, but that too gets a ton of drops as well as screen tearing. PlayStation 5 Pro is perhaps the best performer here. There's limited screen tearing on the Pro, but there are still FPS drops. Now there's this rumor and belief going on that once you start playing Borderlands 4, things are a stable lock 60 FPS. And once you've kind of played a bit longer, the FPS starts to drop. While I did do a small test, here's some FPS comparisons of when I started playing versus 30 minutes of playtime versus 1 hour of playtime versus 2 hours of playtime. Things do seem to be worse after 30 minutes, but then again, 1 hour and 2 hours, it looks like the FPS got a little bit stable again. I suspect the bad drops aren't particularly linked to how long you play, but rather a bit of a memory leak issue where you're playing and then after about 20 to 30 minutes, the performance does drop, and then at some point things might sort of reset as you carry on playing and doing different missions. So I don't think there's like a linear relationship between bad FPS and the amount of playtime. It does seem to be a little random. Maybe I should have done this test on the Series X or the base PS5 since those consoles do have worse performance than the Pro. Two last things I want to talk about here. The first is cutscenes. They are locked to 30 FPS regardless of the graphic mode, so 30 FPS even in performance mode. The last thing I'll mention here is split screen. This is a great feature. You can play local co-op in split screen, but even in performance mode, that gets you locked to 30 FPS. It's sort of like the Baldur's Gate 3 limitation we got on split screen. It's kind of the same here, 30 FPS regardless of the mode. And that's what you need to know about Borderlands 4 on Xbox Series S versus X versus PS5 versus PS5 Pro. For the rest of the video, check out some more side-by-side gameplay with that FPS counter shown.